Okay, I hope this works now. Let's see. YouTube Studio. Sorry guys, I have to go back to my dashboard here. Okay, now it seems to work. So, okay, I have chat now here, and the camera is now properly adjusted, hopefully. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, sorry for the little trouble there before. Hello, barcode 1404 1975. I will call you barcode now, okay? Yeah, thanks for joining in. Today we will paint some of my newly printed guardsmen from Station Forge that I have 3D kit bashed with new heads. And this is my prototype. And yeah, we have here two new of them, primed and ready to go, and one here of the new cavalry models. And hello, James Skidmore. Welcome to the stream. So let's start with the first colors applied. Where do we have it? No, that's not the right one. Where is it? There it is. We will start with a simple blue. Some crappy old brush should suffice. Some blue on the palette. There we go. So, how is everybody doing? Are you painting along? What is on your painting desk? How's your week? So I'm simply slopping on here some color. Oh, I'm out of focus. Sorry about that. And now the primer that I'm using here is really quite glossy. That's a new one I have tested. It's a quite cheap primer, but it seems that the color is sticking to it just fine. So everything is fine. So I'm not much worried about getting paint on other areas of the miniature that we will be painting later. gotten this and here. From James, just chilling at the moment, but plan to start an Old Shaven army later on. Old Shaven? What's an Old Shaven army? Or you mean an old shelved army? And this was autocorrect. Ah, Skaven, you mean? Okay. Skaven is an army that always interested me, but it was always one of those horde armies, and therefore it was very expensive, and I didn't want to paint so many miniatures. So respect to everybody who wants to tackle those. And Barcode is painting some orcs. Oh. Are we talking about Warhammer Fantasy orcs, Age of Sigmar orcs, 40k orcs, Lord of the Rings orcs? 3D printed a la 40k style. Oh, 3D printed, you say? From which sculptor? I personally prefer the sculpts also here from Station Forge. They make some awesome orcs, and with the tribe membership, I should get some new orcs soon from them. And yeah, I think I will print some and paint some. Maybe not enough for an whole army, but we will see. Modulorca orcs. I've never heard of them. Are they on my mini factory or on Coles 3D or Thingiverse? Okay, that's the blue part done. Yeah, I also love those guard models. Those are the new Royal Guard from Station Forge. They are right now available on their tribes membership. and they will be released to my mini factory next month. So, and they had different heads, and well, I wanted to play a Death Corps of Krieg's army, and I had also here those snipers that I showed off previously, and yeah, I wanted them to fit. My mini factory, Mr. Mordok. Mordulorg. Okay. Let me check that. I have a computer here, so I can check that. Mr. Mordulorg. Huh? With K. There, Mr. Mordulorg. They're also very interesting orcs. So, anybody can watch. Zip. See what I see. Oh, those bring me back here. Retro orcs. This style here of orc was actually the very first orc I've ever painted, or the very first Warhammer 40k model I've ever painted, from the first second edition starter set of 40k. Yeah, that brings me back. Oh, I got something in my inbox. Okay. Yeah, back to the miniatures. Okay, back to painting. Sorry about the little delay. I had to check a message. So now let's paint some silver. So this here's my own dirty silver mixture. There's a little, tiny little bit of bronze in there and brown. So it's well, a dirty silver. From James, think a guard army should be made of many different styles and regiments. Well, that's one way to do it. If you want to mix several different army regiments, you could totally go for it. Nothing is stopping you, and even the lore would support that. But I personally prefer my armies to be homogenic, with one army at a time. The thing is, here for the field of view, I'm recording with my handy camera here, and the lens is here in that corner of the, and when I move to here, that it is in the center, I can't see anything because I'm actually having my screen totally in the way. Maybe I could, yeah, that could work if I look under the handy. Yeah, that should be better for you. Hello, Captain Bogroll. Oh, blue. Yeah, my guardsmen will be blue. They are tiny blue men in a blue world. And hello, Get Wrecked. Nice for you to drop by at the stream. I appreciate all of you. The glossy primer makes it look wet. Yeah, sorry about the glossy primer. This is just a cheap primer I was testing. It's working well as a primer, but the miniature will be covered 100% anyways, and so it doesn't matter if the primer is matte or glossy in the end. The final finish of the miniature is what matters and not the start. From Captain Backroll, really impressed with the prints. I wonder when, if GW will take to selling files instead of boxes of minis. Well, I think GW will go down with a sinking ship. I expect them to never do that. And if they do that, it will be at a stage where it's way too late. And I think they will go the route of video rental companies. They will hear the bang too late. And I predict that retail miniature wargaming will be obsolete in maybe 10 years. Box makes a lot of money, yes, but the problem is they are not a normal company anymore. They are run by a board of shareholders. And if the ratings, the sell ratings drop, the shareholders will sell their shares and the market value of GW will collapse. And that's how companies die nowadays. If they don't make a profit, the shareholders will drop out, the company will be sold off into stripped for parts, and that will be the end of GW. If they don't make the estimated profit margins within their quarter over and over again, then the company will simply die. They will increase prices and try to upsell you on overpriced plastic over and over again until the community has it enough. And for the last 5 years, the only thing I could afford from Games Workshop, honestly, were on eBay sold miniatures from starter sets, and most recently the miniatures from the collection magazine Warhammer Conquest and Warhammer Imperium. But directly from Games Workshop, there was only one thing I have bought in the last 5 years, and that was one Necron Tombstalker, and that's it. The prices for Games Workshop are absolutely ridiculous. I honestly stopped buying miniatures from Games Workshop the time when the miniatures for the Hobbit miniature game were released, and they sold a box of wood elves for, I believe, €40, and well, that was the last nail for the coffin for me. I stopped buying Games Workshop stuff. I can't afford it. But you guys can support me, because let's talk about our sponsor. The sponsor of my videos are you guys. By watching my videos, by watching the ads, and also the super chats here on my live streams. The super chats were the thing that enabled me to buy my 3D printer. Thanks again for sponsoring me. Oh, I have flooded my wet palette. Oh my god. Dang it. From Captain Bockroll, being priced out of boxed sets kills creativity too. These prints have done the opposite. They get better and better with time. Get Wrecked is subscribed since 2010. Well, nice to have a return customer. Glad you enjoy my videos for so long. So, need to get rid of the excess water here. With all the metal paint in it. This is when you overflood your wet palette. Accidents can happen. But we can deal with it. We can make it better. So, in regards of better prints, yes, I have observed the 3D printing scene for years now. Well, I had owned a 3D printer for several years now, and I only recently I'm starting to really print miniatures because now my printer really works with a new one. But nevertheless, over the last, I say, 2 years, the print quality of the miniatures that are made has improved so drastically. It's really insane. So previously it was all Thingiverse and free files shared on the net, and those files were often very, very lackluster in quality, and yeah, the designers had to well, learn the craft from ground up, and there were hundreds and hundreds of designers who took up the mantle and started working on miniature design, and over time the market evolved, and the designers got better and better, and then they started to charge for the miniatures on Coast 3D and on my mini factory, and um, with more work, the miniature sculpts were gradually getting better and better. Then, with criticizing from their customer base, they evolved to getting their supports even better and better. And now it is simply wonderful to have this as a hobby. So it's a totally different thing than buying miniatures from Games Workshop or other manufacturers and clipping them out of a sprue and putting them on the base. Then yeah, 3D printing the entire thing. From Mother Liquor 69. It's 4:30 a.m. here in Australia. I just got home from work and I'm happy to see you streaming. And yeah, as Aussies know all too well about crappy GW prices. Well, yeah, Australia got hit hard with GW prices for forever now, and I can totally see the 3D printing scene there blooming even more. From Barcode, and don't forget the printers are also getting better. Yes, the printers are getting better, and they're getting cheaper at the same time. Better and cheaper. So for about 150 euros to 200 euros, you can get a relatively decent printer nowadays, and that's enough to print miniatures like this. This is totally well perfect for painting and playing. I am absolutely happy with the quality of those prints. And this is just a 2K printer. If you invest in a little bit more, you get a 4K or 8K printer. And I totally recommend the approach I always do. Always keep 1 or 2 years behind, and you still get a relatively decent product, but for a fraction of the price. From Barcode, I have a Photon Mono X. Yeah, it's the same one that I have. No, I have the Photon Mono. The Mono X is the 4K, I guess, right? Um, Captain Bogrel do 4K and 8K, just have more details in the print. These look great already. Yes. You see the um Oh well, let's. I need something to illustrate. 1 second. Oh, there we have a pencil. So, let's say this is the LCD screen from your printer, and you get layers and layers of the slices of your miniatures, and each layer consists of pixels. Let's say this is 1 pixel. It is it has a certain size, and then you have the next pixel here, and then maybe here a pixel, and again here a pixel, and maybe here a pixel, and here a pixel, and so you get the shapes of the miniatures composed of all those pixels. But if you have, this is for example a 2K, if you have a 4K, then these things are composed of even more pixels. What that means is, for this print, nothing, but you could have here a tiny pixel, and here another tiny pixel. That means the details are getting sharper and sharper. An 8K pixel printer has even tinier pixels to work with. Now you can make details with that tiny pixels. You see? So, if we have now a look at the miniature itself, you can see layer lines. Where do we have an example for that? Where is it obviously visible? Here, for example, at the flank of the horse, you can very faintly see the layer lines there. Or best here on the base itself, you can see the layer lines. You can even hear it. So if you have a printer with a higher density, there you can see the layer lines maybe. So if you have a higher resolution printer, those layer lines will be smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and the details will be crisper and crisper. But there is a point where the human eye and your brush obviously can't keep up. So this is now from a 2K printer. I would say for miniature printing purposes, for wargaming miniatures of 28 to 32 millimeters, a 4K printer is absolutely sufficient, and an 8K printer is already overkill. So you don't have to invest in the 60K printer or something like that. Those ranges of resolution would only be viable for miniatures. Yeah, like busts. If you want to print busts, there you could have then even tinier and finer details on a big bust. There would be this would be a place for those kinds of resolutions. But for simple wargaming purposes, 2K is already good, 4K is enough, and 8K is overkill. I hope that answers your question. From Captain Godball, so with 8K you can make chainswords as sharp as a real longsword. Yeah, for example, be careful. You can cut yourself. Yes, very detailed explanation. Thank you. You're welcome. So, I guess those are all the silver parts. I hope I didn't miss any. Just a little bit more. So, and you see I've been using a super crappy brush here for the whole shebang. But now let's switch to a better brush for some brown. Sorry. Oh no, my music is empty. Okay. Now I have music again. Yoo-hoo. So, anybody else painting along with me? So we got the orcs painted momentarily by one on the chat. Who else is painting? Well, if not, then that's also totally fine. Oh no, I missed something in silver there. From James Skidmore, I'm at the assembly stage. Matthew, me, I'm painting a figure 2. What are you painting? Thanks for the stream. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for hanging out. I have to thank you for being here and watching paint dry. From Captain Bogrol, have you ever created, ordered one of those figures from Hero Forge? No. I have dabbled a little bit with the Hero Forge Creator kit, but to be honest, the how do I say it? The dimensions of the miniatures are the wrong size for me, and the style of the sculpts that Hero Forge offers is not my cup of tea. So, when you watch a miniature or look at a miniature, you can instantly tell, yes, I want to paint that. I want to have that. I want to own it. I want to rub my brush all over it. Yes, now I need it. And this is the case for me for almost 90% of all the Station Forge miniatures that I've come across. And this is why I started the pledge there, the tribe membership. But for Hero Forge, not so much. I look at the miniatures and I say, meh. Not for me. Same for one-page rules miniatures. Yes, some guys swear on them. They are fine. Fine miniatures, okay. But not my cup of tea. I find them mostly ugly. But that's a good thing, because if everybody only sees the value in one miniature line, then that would be a waste. So we have diversity in our miniatures. Not everybody likes the same things. At this point, Stationforge should definitely start to sponsor me. So, guys, do you have any burning painting-related questions that I could ask while I'm here? Now's your chance. You have me live and in color. Ask your questions. Well, if you're on a mobile device, then obviously it's hard to type in chat. Then are you relieved of duty? But if you're sitting on a PC, start typing and start liking the stream. Do it! Do it now! Well, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your real mom. But I can say, pretty please. Pretty please. Hit the like button. From Captain Bogrol, that's fair enough. I've never bought from them, but the creator is good for testing color combinations. Yeah. From Matthew, it's a figure of warrior type woman, 18mm scale. From Mother Liquor, it's crazy. Australians pay 67 euros for a set of Attilan Rough Riders. I'm putting together a few old Rough Riders. Yeah, the Forge World miniatures are like they are cast in liquid in solid gold. This is absolutely insane what they want for miniatures. The Death Core of Creep 5-man cavalry, 115 euros. 60 euros for a set of 10 infantrymen. This is insane. And to be honest, if the trend with the price rises goes on, GW prices are in a short amount of time at the Forge World level. And this is not viable anymore. But just like Discourse Miniatures has mentioned it last time she was on stream, well, Games Workshop master plan is not to cash in with the normal customers anymore. Their entire business plan is focused on Wales. Not the country, but the wargamers with spending habit problems that pay all the ridiculous prices, fall for the fear of missing out, the FOMO, and all that kind of stuff. What paint lines do you like? You have tried Tooth and Coats. No, I haven't tried Tooth and Coats yet. I contacted them for getting maybe some promo material, but it hasn't arrived yet. My favorite paint lines are Games Workshop, Scale 75, Vallejo, and Army Painter. Those are where I have colors from. From James Skidmore, try Atlantic War Games, 24 guard minis for about $32. Yeah, it's also a good price. Or I could print about 50 guardsmen on my 3D printer for about 20 euros for my resin. That's, in my opinion, a reasonable price. Sorry, but I will never buy any plastic miniatures ever again. Ever. Unless my printer breaks again, but I don't want to jinx it. So don't worry if the brown doesn't cover 100% in one coat here. I will go over it with highlights and washes and more layers. I'm just super sloppily applying now a base coat. Basically the most boring part of painting. From Matthew, do you varnish your models? No, I do not. Mostly. Sometimes I do, but mostly not. So, how's my battery coming along? Yeah, 1/3 down. I still have some time. So, guys, what do you think? What color the horse should be? Gray horse, a brown horse, white, maybe a mustard color, or maybe a mix. Barcode says gray. Okay, we have one vote for gray. Matthew, second vote for gray. Sounds great. Sounds great. Badumtish. James, gray stands out against the rider. Captain Bogger, I associate black horses with royal guard, etc. So 3 votes for gray, 1 for black. Captain Bogrel, famously, the Scots Greys at Waterloo had white grey horses. Okay, I didn't know that. I'm not that familiar with historically correct regiment history, and especially the color of the horses. But if you say so, I believe you. You could even tell me, yeah, they have painted their horses purple. There would be no reason for me to doubt that or to counter that argument. Okay, I think the straps are painted now. The horsey strips. I missed there something that needs to be silver. Okay. Oops. And I overpainted something that needs to be blue. Let's quickly correct that. That's the main advantage of a wet palette. It has been 53 minutes since I started the stream, and the blue is still wet. Still workable. Hi, what are we painting? Horses. Horses and infantrymen we are painting. What are you painting? Edge of Hell. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Why I'm talking like this, I don't know. I'm just making fun. I have some Riders of Rohan and Lord of the Rings to paint. Well, a fellow horse painter. Go ahead. From Edge of Hell, I am building my World Eater's Corn army. Nice, I like horse. I want some of my Death Guard. Some for my Death Guard? Yeah. Death Guard on horses. That would be something. But I doubt there is a horse out there that could carry a Space Marine. And for that case, even a bloated Plague Marine. So, again, the question is, what color should I paint the horse? We have 3 votes for gray and 1 vote for black. Any other takers? So, I let the paint dry a little bit, and I will quickly make a coffin nail for myself, where we can talk a little bit amongst ourselves. For those of you that are only interested in the painting aspect, you have now a few minutes for a pee break. Go and relieve yourself. I will be covering my lungs in unhealthy smoke for a while. So, this here is, by the way, my test miniature that I've painted so far. And the modus operandi of attack is now that I will highlight now then the blue parts, then the brown parts, and also here on the horse, I will paint obviously then the horse in gray. And yeah, here a little bit of bleached bone on the gas mask. And after that, the miniature will be soaked in liquid talent. James P. Brake, that actually made me laugh. Cultists on horses be really fun, like bloated, dead-looking ones. Yeah, that could be cool. Barcode, I quit smoking, an expensive hobby. Yeah, smoking is really expensive. I could afford twice or 3 times the amount of miniatures if I could quit smoking. Fun fact. But that's the habit with addictions. I'm addicted to tobacco and resin and plastic. Well, in my case, resin is my methadone for plastic. Yeah, and after I've covered everything, you done smoke resin? No, I will not smoke resin. After I've covered the entire miniature in liquid talent, aka Agrax Earthshade, the stream will end because the miniature obviously needs 2 to 3 hours to dry, and then final touches are some dry brushing, light dry brushing with silver, so bolt gun metal silver, and then mithril silver, or the nowadays equivalent of that. I will use lead belcher and here heavy metal from Scale Color for that stage. Hello, CQ Mark F. Hi, fan from Canada. Glad to have you here during the stream. Sorry, I'm right now in break, so everybody else in chat has a pre-break, and It's just that long. So, if you have any questions, feel asked to free feel free to ask. We are currently painting this here a guardsman from Station Forge, a 3D print, where I've kit bashed the head onto a different miniature to make them look like creeks. Well, they are with a heavy armor here with the metal plates. They are more like um, lunar auxiliary versions of Deathcore of Creek. Yes, you know, smoked painter's meat holds longer. I could also use my glasses. That would improve my eyesight. Let's do that. Eyesight +1 now. Wow, now I can see the miniatures. Cool. From Barcode, have you ever thought to have your own mini designed for 3D printing? Yes, I have, but this is expensive and I don't have the money. To paying a designer, first I would have to pay how do they call it? An artist, not an artist, well, they are artists, sketch artist to sketch out what I envision, and then I need also to pay the sculptor to sculpt the thing. So we are talking not about 20 or 30 euros. We are talking about well, maybe 200-300 euros for the design itself, and then also the sculptor, 200 to 300 euros. From QC Mark, I'm not up to date. I thought your 3D printer was broken at some point. Glad you got a new one. Yes, my old 3D printer, the Anycubic Photon 1, broke on me. I had them for years. I had always trouble with them, and then finally I managed to calibrate him absolutely perfect, and I got 3 perfect prints out of it, and then it broke. Yeah, and well, Chat was so kind to super chat me into a new 3D printer. They sponsored my new printer. I bought a used one on eBay. This is now an Anycubic Photon Mono 2K. So, guys and girls, gentles and ladymen, P-break is over. Time to paint. So, now we will highlight those miniatures. Some Vallejo Model Color Magic Blue on the palette. And we are ready to highlight. I'm just making here super rough highlights. Oops. Sorry, I was out of focus. I'm just picking out all the raised areas here. Okay. From Mark, I just bought a bunch of Creek models from the Wish website and received them last week. Don't know what to do with them. All the sprues are bent or missing parts. The quality is so bad. Oh, sad to hear that. If they are resin Creek miniatures and they are bent, you can unbend them if you dip them in hot water. And then you can bend the resin. If they are plastic miniatures, on the other hand, the new Games Workshop plastic Creek soldiers, that's a problem. Yes, they are resin. We'll try that. Yeah, could totally rescue bent miniatures. That's not a problem at all. So for missing parts, well, you could always kit bash them with other miniatures. Or if you have a 3D printer, print some missing parts. From Matthew, I do with WizKids plastic ones. Works well. Yeah, for example, there are a lot of World War II miniatures out there. Just look for French World War One soldiers, and you're good to go. You can cannibalize those. It's my first time working with resin too, so so much harder compared to plastic. Yeah, resin is a tricky material to work with. It's hard and brittle, but bendable under heat. It doesn't melt with plastic glue. You just need to use super glue. Pinning is advised for heavier parts. Resin dust is toxic, so don't breathe it in when you file stuff. So use use one of your COVID face masks if you're working with resin dust. But with a sharp knife, you can definitely gently cut the stuff. So, now some white. Matthew, how do you tell the 3D how do tell the 3D painter wants to print? Do you need a computer attached? Dumb question. Oh, the 3D printer. Well, it works the following. Have you ever used a printer on your computer for documents, for paper documents like Word, for example? You can't just press a button on the printer and it prints. No, you need a program to generate a file that the printer can interpret and print. So, in the case of a Word document, you need Word, obviously, and there you have the text file, and in the program itself, you can say, okay, print me that, and it connects to the printer, and the printer interprets the file into a paper print. And the same logic applies to a 3D printer. So in that case, you need first a 3D file. They are called STL files because they have the document ending .stl, and those files are the entire information your computer needs to interpret those as 3D rendered objects. So with this file in hand, you go to your so-called slicer software. Slicer software is basically a software that takes this 3D image and cuts the entire image of the 3D file into thousands of 2D images. Like, for example, a computer tomograph. You know, a medical computer tomograph. They make pictures of you with a magnetic field in thousands of slices. This is what the 3D slicer software makes. It takes this 3D object and slices it up into thousands of 2D slices. This file is then saved on an USB stick or an SD card with a USB reader. And then you plug this USB file, this USB stick with a sliced file into your 3D printer. And then the 3D printer takes that file and prints out the entire print from the bottom layer to the top layer, slice by slice, until it is a finished miniature. I hope this explanation was okay. Matthew, wow, thanks. That's cleared a mystery for me. So kind. Yeah, no problem. If you have other questions, go ahead and ask. I could also explain to you how a resin 3D printer differs from a plastic 3D printer, the so-called FDM printers, if you're interested. Tell me. Okay. There we go. Like I said before, the 3D printer prints a 3D file in 2D layers. So the difference between a resin printer and an FDM printer is the method in which they do that. The FDM printer works a lot like a hot glue gun. Imagine you have a hot glue gun. There is the gun itself. It has inside the plastic rod that is melted inside the heating unit of the of the plastic heat gun, and it is forced through the nozzle, and the nozzle itself is tiny, and a tiny dot of plastic glue comes out, and you can drag it along and well, glue stuff together. Now imagine you have a build plate. Let's say this is the build plate for the 3D printer. Then you have here attached the Z-axis, the axis that goes from down to up. Then you have the Y-axis that is here attached, and on that you have here the hot glue gun, and the printer has also the print bed itself that moves in this direction, front and back. So normally it goes like this. Then this here goes up and down, and the hot glue gun moves here, and the print bed moves in this direction, you see, and with that you can reach every spot on the build plate. And then the hot glue gun will simply print each layer in circular motion, and the print is then built upwards. This is how an FDM printer works. Now the resin printer works on a totally different level. Let's say you have your resin tank. Let's say this here is the resin tank of your 3D printer. It has, as you can see, a clear bottom. And here the other stuff, this is the resin that is inside the resin printer. So then you have on top of that, you have here your Z-axis that is stiff in place. It is here, and there's the motor attached to this Z-axis. And on the Z-axis attached is here then the build plate. And the build plate moves up and down. So where you have on a FDM printer 3 moving parts, the build plate, the Z-axis, and the Y-axis for the heater unit, you only have one. The Z-axis is moving up and down. So as we have established now, we have the resin tank with a clear bottom, and here, this here down here, this is the LCD unit. This is basically a phone screen. And this phone screen has underneath a massive UV lamp. So the phone screen will now take the images that we have previously sliced on our slicer software. Say here, the pixels that we have drawn previously here, those will then now light up. And with lighting up, it means it blocks UV light. And no, other way around. The entire screen itself is black, and only the pixels will clear. And the UV light will shine through the pixels that are shown then. You see, here's the UV light source, then the resin is on top, and here the build plate comes down, pours into the resin, and then the lamp starts, and the pixels that shine light through. And on the bottom of the resin tank, on top of the build plate that is now flush on the build plate itself, there's a super thin film of resin, and that will be hit with UV light from the bottom, and only the spots where the pixels show through, the UV light will cure this. Then it will rise up and go down again a micron lower, and then a new image is shown with different pixels showing, and the light is hitting again, and again a film of UV curable resin is cured and is attached to the previous layer, and that goes up and down again, light, up, and down again, light, up and down again. And in the end, you have a finished miniature. This is how a resin printer differs from a FDM printer. I hope this explanation was okay. Now, where's my brush? There's my brush. That's again helpful. I did not realize there was 2 types of 3D printer. I presume the resin is better for modeling. Well, there are 3 kinds of resin printers. No more, there are 7 kinds of resin printers, but those are industrial size stuff. There's another one. It's the laser printer. The laser printer works even more different, and this is only worked in industrial style stuff. Where we print with liquid resin, they print with resin dust. Imagine your build plate here is covered with resin dust, and the laser comes in and cures the layer that you want to print, and then the dust is put off. There goes an arm, puts off the dust. Then another arm comes in, covers the entire thing again with another layer of dust, and then a laser again, cures all the resin, and again, dust off, dust on, dust off, dust off. And this is even more precise than a resin printer, because the resin printer uses LCD technology with, like I showed before, with pixels that you have on a monitor. But this is far worse than a laser can do it. A laser can even be more precise. And then there are the industrial grade printers that print streets. There are printers that can print metal. There are printers that can print bendable objects. I have even seen that a company prints rocket parts. 3D printed rocket parts. This is insane. Yeah. Let's keep on painting. A little bit of a history lesson here. Yeah, and the 3D printing technology is evolving faster and faster and faster. And, well, soon enough we have our own version of a replicator. This is not bright enough. Yeah, this works. I hope I didn't bore the rest of the chat. From SU, I'm old school. I like metal miniatures, something about the weight in the hand. One day I might get a 3D printer. Thanks again. Yeah, I'm old school too. I was growing up with metal miniatures, and the only thing that we had in plastic back then were monopose single miniatures, and the rest was all metal. So, for example, you had your few orcs from the starter set and your Gretchens, and the rest of your army was all metal. Can you imagine an entire dreadnought fully made of metal? Those things were a hazard. You could kill somebody with them if you throw them. From James, that was kind of cool. Thanks for the info. Yeah, no problem. yeah, and with just a few strokes, the highlight on this one is done. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Yeah, another miniature done. From Matthew, the old Metal Lord of the Rings minis from Games Workshop over the new plastic stuff for me. Well, you will laugh. I still have Metal Lord of the Rings miniatures here laying around somewhere. But to be honest, the 25mm scale of the Lord of the Rings miniatures is nowadays too small for my eyesight. I don't enjoy painting those. Yeah, 10 years ago I painted some Lord of the Rings miniatures for my channel. But this is long ago. I'm getting old. I'm not such a young whippersnapper anymore. Never old, young at heart. Okay. We are streaming for 1.5 hours now. Let's give the horse some gray. Normally I would slay the gray, but this time I paint the gray. Yay! Tell that to my niece. Yeah, tell that to my back. One new spine, please. Oh, I think I overpainted now. A strap. That's not a problem. I can repaint that. I will. I'm a physio. So, a thought experiment for you guys. If you are living in a world where everybody has a totally useless or mediocre superpower, what would be yours? A mediocre superpower is something useful but not in a fight. A useless superpower is absolutely useless. For example, invisibility in total darkness. That's a useless superpower. But a mediocre superpower would be flying, but only 5 centimeters above ground and only 5 kilometers per hour. So you're basically flying in walking speed in walking height. From James Skidmore, can make a hamburger disappear at will. I have that superpower already. I would say this is more a magic trick than a superpower. A second me to do my chores. Run backwards, breakneck speed. Breakneck speed. Okay. So basically, you can run backwards faster than you can run forwards. Interesting superpower. My useless superpower would be the ability to pop popcorn with the sheer power of my mind, but only one corn at a time. And I hate popcorn. I have popcorn telekinesis. And my mediocre superpower would be to have heat ray vision, like Superman has, but I can only heat objects to 37 degrees Celsius. It's not even enough to kill a human. And I have another useless superpower. I can give myself a mild headache at will. And thanks to the hamburger quote, I'm hungry now. Thank you. Now I want hamburger. Give me hamburger now. Now. Superpower to chat and paint like you. That's not a superpower. I'm not even mildly good. Okay, the horse is great now. Ta-da! That is a wish, if you ask me. Well, you can achieve that. Just paint. And paint some more. And then when you've done that, start over. Patience to make it through the lines at the Department of Motor Vehicles useful once a year. Suddenly I have Zootopia in my mind with the sloth at the helm. Flash, I guess was his name. Flash the sloth. So, the time has come to drown these miniatures in liquid talent and to begin the ending of the stream. So, if you have any last questions, any last thoughts, what you want to share with me before I shut down the stream, then ask it now. They were too fast to compare to life. You think Flash was faster than a real life guy from the automobile line? If you say so, I believe you. So, what the chestnut, the Acrax Earthshade here is doing for the miniature is giving it shading and weathering at the same time. All the metal parts will be slightly rusty and damp. All the blue parts here will be less shiny blue and more dull blue. And even the bases are base coated with that stuff. So that's number one done. So, and everybody who is watching this after the live stream, remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, hit the button, and all the buttons you can find. Click them all. I know you want it. You want more of this. Must appreciate it. Enjoyed. Thanks again. Bell engaged. Thank you. Thank you very much. is dark now. And last but not least, Monsieur Cavalry from James Goodstream. Well, thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Yeah, this miniature is as big as 3 miniatures. Takes a little bit longer to slop him up with all the liquid talent. But we can do it. We can improve it. We can make it better. Basically, when the horse is dry, I will then start to highlight again in several gray tones, probably with stippling, to give it a little bit more texture. And the brown will give a natural, nice shadow in those areas. So, I hope I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, if you want to find out how it turns out, then don't hesitate to check out my Instagram. There I will post all my painted miniatures, or check me out on Discord. Yeah, and that's it for the stream for today. Thank you to everybody who chatted with me today. It was nice to have you here on board. So I'm not painting alone and talking to the void. And thanks again for giving me some nice themes to talk about, talking points. I need more of those. And yeah, we see us in the next video. Bye, everybody.